August 12, 1966, Phuoc Tu Province, South Vietnam. Staff Sergeant Mike Brennan of the 1st Battalion 503rd Infantry lay crouched deep inside shoulder-high elephant grass, his uniform soaked through sweat that burned his eyes and blurred his vision. As he stared toward the dark green wall of jungle 200 meters ahead, the air was thick, unmoving, heavy with heat, insects, and the smell of rot for 6 exhausting days. His platoon had been moving through this unforgiving province. Intelligence, REPORTS, insisted a Viet Cong battalion was operating nearby, but reality told a different story. Empty villages, cooking fires long gone, footprints washed away by rain. Nothing moved except insects and the occasional bird startled by American boots contact. "Zero," whispered the point man, his voice barely audible. Brennan raised his clenched fist, and 40 men froze instantly. Rifles came up, fingers tightened on triggers. Every breath slowed. This was the moment drilled into them on training fields back home. Find the enemy. Fix him in place, destroy him. This was search and destroy. This was how wars were won, according to General Westmoreland, and the men who planned them from air-conditioned rooms yet 300 meters east, hidden inside a dense stand of bamboo. Captain Bob Milligan of the Australian Army Training Team, Vietnam, watched the scene unfold through binoculars. He did not feel excitement. He felt dread. He recognized the movement immediately. A single Viet Cong scout, deliberately allowing himself to be seen beyond the tree line. Milligan knew at least 24 guerrillas waited in carefully prepared positions. Overlapping fields of fire escape routes already planned. Milligan had watched this pattern repeat itself again and again across South Vietnam. The Americans would advance aggressively, trusting numbers, artillery, and firepower. The Viet Cong would ambush, briefly inflict casualties, then melt back into the jungle. And within days, they would return, smarter, faster, and more dangerous. The Americans hunted the way they had been taught, always forward, always loud, always confident. What they had not yet learned, what Milligan and the Australians were about to teach them, was a simple, brutal truth. In the jungle, the hunter who moves forward is often the one being hunted. The real predators move backward. When Australian advisors first arrived in South Vietnam in 1962, they encountered an American military machine preparing to fight the war exactly as it had fought the last ones. Massive firepower, rapid movement, aggressive contact, and total confidence in doctrine forged during World War II and reinforced in Korea. General William Westmoreland, commander of MACV, articulated this belief clearly in 1965. His strategy relied on helicopter mobility, artillery, and relentless pressure. Find enemy forces, engage them, and annihilate them. The math appeared undeniable. Kill more of them than they can replace, and eventually they will break American infantry. Doctrine emphasized movement to contact. Patrols advanced in column formations, designed to draw enemy fire so the main body could maneuver and overwhelm opposition. It was a method that had worked against German divisions and Chinese infantry. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Gunfighter Emerson captured the mindset perfectly. We are not waiting for Charlie to come to us. We are going to find him, close with him, and destroy him. But the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese army were not fighting to win battles or hold terrain. They were fighting to survive long enough for America to lose the will to continue. Early American patrols followed predictable rhythms. Units were inserted by helicopter at dawn, swept assigned grid squares throughout the day, then extracted. Before nightfall, we would land, walk all day in the heat, find nothing, and fly back. Specialist James Walsh remembered. Meanwhile, Charlie watched everything. Body counts increased, charts looked promising, but villages cleared 1 week were under VC control. The next trails reopened and rebooby trapped within days. Something fundamental was failing, but Pentagon metrics focused on numbers, not meaning. Australian approach to jungle warfare had not been created in briefing slides. It was shaped by years of brutal experience in Malaya, Borneo, and Southeast Asia. The Malayan emergency taught them that aggressive sweeps exhausted soldiers and revealed intentions. Patient tracking and ambush destroyed insurgents when the Australian Army training team arrived. They brought this philosophy with them. Colonel Ted Sirong quickly recognized that American methods were poorly suited for jungle warfare. Australians emphasized counter-tracking, following enemy signs not to catch them immediately, but to understand patterns, habits, routes, and intentions. This required patience, discipline, and restraint, qualities often sacrificed under pressure for daily body counts. The results spoke loudly. Australian advised units achieved kill ratios approaching 20-1 while suffering minimal casualties. When the main Australian task force deployed in 1966, they abandoned large-scale sweeps in favor of small, long-duration patrols, sometimes lasting 2 weeks or more. Major Harry Smith explained that the difference: Americans wanted to find the enemy and destroy him immediately. We wanted to find him, observe him, and destroy his entire unit at a time and place of our choosing. The SAS took this concept to its extreme. 5-man patrols inserted deep into enemy territory for up to 14 days. They moved slowly, silently, avoiding contact unless success was guaranteed. Intelligence gathering mattered more than immediate kills. Patience became a combat multiplier. January 8, 1967, near Swowie Creek, Captain Jim Hughes of the U.S. 4th Battalion was deeply frustrated. His company had run countless patrols, yet the Viet Cong seemed endless. That morning, he attended a briefing by Australian SIS Captain Bob Grandon laid out photographs of disturbed soil, broken vegetation, subtle ground signs. His patrol had spent 11 days tracking a Viet Cong logistics element through the same terrain. Hughes had repeatedly swept without success. Hughes questioned why they had not attacked Grandon. Replied, because we are not ready. Yet the next day Hughes joined the patrol. During the first hour, they covered less than 300 meters. Every 10 minutes, Grandon halted for silent observation. He pointed out details invisible to untrained eyes: a snapped twig, mud displaced onto a leaf, a stone turned wet side upward. After hours of slow movement, they located a concealed supply cache. Instead of attacking, Grandon withdrew. 2 days later, the SAS returned, ambushing the site. 6 Viet Cong killed 3 tons of rice, captured 0 friendly casualties. Hughes was convinced. April 2-3, 1967. Lieutenant Mike Berghoff's platoon was attached to an Australian-led operation. The Australians conducted 3 days of intensive instruction: move slower, move quieter, tape equipment, reduce water noise, eliminate metal contact. Instead of advancing aggressively, Berghoff's platoon established a concealed ambush along a suspected supply trail. They waited silently for 36 hours. No smoking, no fires, minimal movement. At 4:15 in the morning, 11 Viet Cong moved down the trail, relaxed, weapons slung, believing themselves safe. Claymores detonated, automatic fire followed. The engagement lasted 47 seconds. 11 enemy killed, 0 American casualties. By mid-1967, American units adopting Australian methods experienced dramatic results. The 173rd Airborne reduced casualties by 60%, while increasing enemy kills by 40%. Noise discipline became absolute. Tracking teams were integrated permanently. Captured enemy documents warned of new American units that moved like guerrillas. Could tell within 15 minutes if we faced regular Americans or the Australian trained ones, a former Viet Cong commander recalled. Against the others, we had to be careful, or we would be caught sleeping. The Battle of Long Tan in August 1966 demonstrated these principles on a larger scale. 108 Australians held off over 2,500 VC and NVA troops. Discipline, control, and precision overcame overwhelming numbers. By late 1967, kill ratios tripled. Ambush casualties dropped 70%. Booby trap losses fell dramatically. The numbers were undeniable. Yet, The success remained tactical, not strategic. 1968 revealed the deeper truth. Militarily, the Viet Cong suffered catastrophic losses. Politically, American public support collapsed. General Abrams attempted to spread Australian methods, but by then the question was no longer how to win, but whether. Victory mattered. Staff Sergeant Mike Brennan survived his tour. He extended for a second to teach the tactics he had learned. The Australians showed us we had been doing it backward, he said. We were playing the enemy gained superior tactics, could not compensate for flawed strategy. You could master jungle ambushes and still lose the war. In 1975, Captain Bob Milligan wrote, "We taught you to be better soldiers. You learned well, but we could not teach your country to want victory more than North. Vietnam wanted it. The ambush Brennan nearly walked into never happened." Milligan warned the American commander, redirected the platoon, and repositioned them. 2 days later, they caught the Viet Cong unit in the open. 17 enemy killed, 0 friendly. Casualties. Mike Brennan lived because he learned how to hunt backward.